Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Brianna and today I'm sharing with you guys contemporary recommendations. So as you can see by the title, today I'm sharing with you my top 10 favorite contemporary reads. I always read these during summertime every year and it's a continuous thing, and I definitely like to pick them up during the fall as well. So I thought I'd share this video with you guys so you guys can get some recommendations out of this. So let's get right into it. The first book I'm recommending is Until Friday Night by Abby Glines. As you can see, this is my current read right now. I'm halfway through and I'm rereading the first and the second book because the third book just came out. This is a YA contemporary and it follows a guy named West Ashby, and his dad has cancer and he's on the football team, and this all takes place in Alabama. And he doesn't really tell anyone that his dad has cancer, but he's struggling with it a lot. And it follows a girl named Maggie who witnessed her father kill her mother, and she's mute right now, so she doesn't talk to anyone. And it's kind of, she moves to the town and he gets connected with her because they share that suffering, and it's all about that. And I love these books specifically because they include one of my favorite things, which is football. And they take place in the South, which is awesome. And I love these books, guys. There's 3 currently out right now, and I heard Abby is making it a total of 9 books for the series, so I'm very, very excited. I would go check it out. The next book I'm recommending is The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout. JLA's books are so good. I recommend every single book, and she has everything. Like, she's so underrated, but she writes everything. She writes paranormal romance, regular romance, contemporary, YA, everything. So I definitely would check her out. This book specifically is one of my favorite contemporary reads because it's so emotional, and it goes like in depth a lot about a lot of details that you don't really see. And I did cry, and I think I got this when I was going to Florida, and I always drive to Florida, so it was a good read and I cried. I can read the beginning for you guys. It says, "For some people, silence is a weapon." So again, this talks about a girl who is mute and something happened to her. "For Mallory Mouse Dodge, it's a shield. Growing up, she learned that the best way to survive was to say nothing. And even though it's been 4 years since her nightmare ended, she's beginning to worry that the fear holds her back will last a lifetime." So I picked this book up I think the same time as Until Friday Night, and they pretty much have the similar main girl character, and I just really like this because it's so detailed, and they go a lot into the foster care system, so you learn about that, and it's about abuse, so it's nothing like the cover, guys, but I loved it. I definitely recommend it. Go check it out, and it is pretty big, if you guys were wondering. The next book I read recently, and it is my favorite book that I read in August, and it's Paper Princess by Erin Watt. This is going to be a 5-book series. Currently 4 books are out, and I've read the first 3, and this is so amazing, guys. It's so good. I would say this is the higher end of YA, leaning into new adult, because they are high school age, but they talk about a lot of things that are very like heavy, so I definitely recommend it. It's so good, and it is pretty short. I flew through it. This follows a girl named Ella Harper whose mother just died after finding out that her mother had cancer, and she's trying to support herself by working 3 jobs and also going to school. And all of a sudden, this random guy appears, and he's like, "I'm your new guardian. You have to move in with me." And at first, she's all like, "No, I'm not gonna do that." And then she moves in with him, and he has 5 sons. One's in college, 4 in high school, and then the last 2 in high school are twins. And I love this book, guys, and it's just so good. Like, I can't talk enough about this book on my channel. It's Erin Watt are 2 authors. This is like an alias, and it's Elle Kennedy and oh my god, I talked about this in another video of mine, so go check out the other video and you'll know the other author of this. But these are so good, and they talk about heavy topics, and there's just so much drama. It kind of reminds me of kind of like an MTV show where they just like if you guys watch The Challenge or if you guys watch Survivor, like that type of feel, it goes along with this, and it's just so good. And of course it's in high school, so I love it. Definitely check it out, guys. The next book I'm recommending is Open Road Summer by Emery Lord. This is actually the first book I read by Emery Lord, and it is my favorite by her. This follows a girl who just broke up with her boyfriend, and she's going on a road trip with her friend, her best friend, who is a country music star. So they go on a road trip, and it's kind of like they end up falling for the same guy and all this stuff, but a lot of things talk about that how you're portrayed. It's not the same as how you feel. So it's a lot of like how the media is. It's not who you really are. And I really enjoyed this book. It was, again, it's pretty long. I think it took me like 2 or 3 days to read, but I really loved it, and the cover's really good, and it talks about a lot. It says 2 best friends, 2 broken hearts, 1 summer that will change everything. So it has that. And I did also read The Start of You and Me, which I really loved. The next book is The Lovely Reckless by Kami Garcia. I read this with the original hardback, but this is the new paperback, and I love this, guys. It was so good. This follows a girl whose boyfriend just died, and she ends up moving in with her dad, and her dad is a undercover cop, and she knows this, and she's like okay with it, but her and her dad aren't really close, so it's kind of like a strange relationship. She ends up enrolling in a high school, and she meets this guy named Marco, and he is a street racer, which they race cars for money. And her dad, she doesn't realize, is trying to investigate Marco and people that are also street racing. So it's kind of like she loves him but doesn't love him, and there's like a lot of detail in this as well. I love this book, and it really did have some diversity in it, which I was really interested in. And it's really nice because Kami Garcia showed the dark side of some things, like the dark side of the law, and I thought it was really interesting. I know one of my friends recently read this, and she loved it too, so I would definitely recommend this book to you guys. The next book I have is How to Keep Rolling After a Fall by Carol Koza. I think that's how you say her name. I probably butchered that. But this follows a girl who cyberbullied someone, and she's getting a lot of hate for it, and you see her reasoning behind it, which I really did enjoy, because you never see the side of the popular cliche person. You always see the one that's bullied. So it's very interesting, and she doesn't have any friends anymore because people dropped her, but they were supposed to be her friends, so it talks about like fake friends and everything. So she ends up going to a hospital, and I don't think she's volunteering. I think she has to do it for like community service reasons, and she ends up meeting a guy who is permanently in a wheelchair. I believe he is paralyzed from the legs down. I'm not 100% sure, but he is a wheelchair rugby player, and he doesn't know who she is and what she did because she's trying to keep it a secret. But I really loved it because it's about her learning to accept herself and accept her flaws, and he's trying to get over being in a wheelchair but also teach her some lessons. And I really loved it. It was a very sweet novel, and it just encompassed a lot about life, and I feel like people can learn a lot from this book, and I definitely recommend it for you guys. It is really, really short. I got through this so quickly. I really recommend it. Go check it out. The next book that I have that's been on my channel forever is Catching Jordan by Miranda Kennelly. This again follows a girl who plays football, and she is the quarterback and team captain for her school. And all of a sudden this guy comes in, Ty Green, who is trying to go out for her position. So it's kind of like that, and there's like a whole relationship aspect to it, but then she has her best friend who's also on the football team, and it's all about that. But I really loved this one just because it is high school. It is like the fall springtime, so that took place there, and it just talks about a girl who's very powerful and knows what she's doing in life and isn't afraid to stand up for herself. And I really felt for her because I also am the only girl on my wrestling team, so I just really like this. And her character is so funny. She's so sarcastic, and she always jokes with the guys, and that's how I feel most of the time, so I'm glad that this was represented in a book. This is an 8-book series, the 100 Oaks series, and it follows basically a different character each time, but you see the old characters in the next book, so it's kind of like that. The next book I have for you is P.S. I Like You by Casey West. This is probably one of my favorite Casey West books. I don't know if it's definitely my favorite, but it's up there. This was so cute, and I just love it. Like, it's not even that cliche of a cover. Like, it's just really pretty. So this follows a girl who one day is writing on the desk because she's bored in class, and it's song lyrics, and then she comes in the next day, and someone continues her lyrics. And she originally thinks it's her original crush, and you don't really know who it is the whole thing, so there is an element of surprise, which I did enjoy. And I just thought it was a really cool twist because I don't really see this a lot, and it does take place in high school, so I definitely recommend it. I really enjoyed it, and that's how big it is, guys. I think it's probably about 300 to 400 pages long, but this is definitely one of my favorite Casey West books. I wasn't a fan of her last two, By Your Side and Lucky in Love, but this is 100% amazing. So the last two books I have is The Season of You and Me by Robin Constantine. This is my favorite Robin Constantine book. Again, it's a contemporary. It takes place summertime, and it's about a girl who had a really bad breakup, and she's just really sad, and I think she moves. Yeah, she doesn't move. She spends time with her family at a bed and breakfast, and she ends up camp counseling, and she meets this guy who's in a wheelchair, and he's like struggling, and he doesn't want to be on a wheelchair because he doesn't know what happened, and there was a huge accident, and he was a surfer. So it's kind of about them connecting, and she doesn't really trust as much, and he doesn't really want to get close to anyone because he's still dealing with his accident, and it's kind of like that. And I loved this book again. This did remind me of How to Roll When You Keep Falling, something like that book, but it was such a good read, and I loved the characters. She was awesome, the girl character, and I think she just brought a lot to this book that I really enjoyed, and I liked seeing the guy's perspective as well, so it was really interesting take that she also wrote the guy's perspective. And the last book I have for you is Whatever Life Throws at You by Julie Cross. This is such a good novel. It takes place at a high school in Kansas, I think. And the girl is a senior. She is a track star. And the guy is in his 20s. He is a rookie pitcher. I think he's a pitcher. Yeah, he's a rookie pitcher for the Kansas City Royals. And her dad is the coach for his team. So her dad's a professional coach. I think she's a track star. I'm not 100% sure. But it's about him because he's a rookie and he doesn't really know what's going on. And she has a relationship with him, and it's all this fun stuff. And I just really liked it because it does border the YA to new adult. And just Julie Cross's writing really made this for me because the girl was so relatable. Everything she was going through, she is attending an all-girls school, and she doesn't really fit in because she's very different from everyone. And then she doesn't really have any friends, and it's all that, and I love this book so much. Yeah, go check it out, guys. So that's it for my recommendations video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave comments down below, and I'll see you guys for my next video. Bye!